You know what is absolutely wild about the human experience when you truly stop to observe it with clear eyes? We walk around every single day, asking permission for things that already belong to us by divine right. We apologize for taking up space in a room. We shrink ourselves down to fit into tiny psychological boxes that we never even agreed to climb into. We say the words, "I am sorry," before we have done a single thing wrong, as if our very existence is an inconvenience to the world. We ask questions like, is it okay if I have this, or is it possible for me to achieve that, when those things are literally your birthright? And then we sit back and wonder why life feels like we are constantly begging at a table where we should be sitting at the head. I need you to really hear this truth today, because it is the foundation of everything we are going to discuss. You do not need to be emotional about what is yours. You do not need to cry for it. You do not need to beg for it. You do not need to throw a spiritual tantrum or bargain with the universe to get it. You certainly do not need to convince anyone, including God or the universe, that you deserve it. What is yours is yours. Period. End of story. But here is where it gets interesting, and here is why you are likely watching this video right now, nodding your head as if I am reading pages from your private diary. You have been operating under a completely backward system your entire life, and nobody bothered to tell you the rules of the game have changed. Let me paint you a picture that will explain exactly where you are and where you need to go. Imagine for a moment that you own a magnificent estate. This is not just a house, but a palace. It is filled with endless rooms of opportunity. The kitchen is stocked with a feast of abundance that never runs out. The closets are filled with the finest clothes, representing your dignity and confidence. The master bedroom has a king-sized bed that offers perfect rest and peace. The deed to this estate has your full legal name written on it in permanent ink. It is paid for. It is yours. It is your legal and spiritual property. But here is the tragedy of your current situation. For the last 10 or 20 or perhaps 50 years, you have been living in the basement of this very mansion. You have been sleeping on the cold, damp concrete floor, huddled in a corner. You have been eating stale crackers and drinking muddy water. You have been shivering in the dark, wondering why life is so hard and why you are so unlucky. And why are you in the basement? It is not because the door to the upstairs is locked. It is not because there is a guard blocking your way. It is simply because somewhere along the way, somebody convinced you that you did not have permission to go upstairs yet. Maybe it was a parent or a teacher or society at large that told you that you must earn your way into your own house. They told you that you needed to feel worthy enough first. They told you that you needed to suffer a little bit more to prove your character. They told you that you needed the right emotions, the right spiritual vibrations, and the perfect alignment before you could claim what was already legally yours. So you stay in the basement working on yourself. You try to meditate your way upstairs. You try to affirm your way upstairs. You try to heal every single childhood wound, hoping that once you are perfect, the door will magically open and you will be invited to the feast. I see you working overtime on your feelings. I see you trying to manufacture a sense of worthiness in that dark basement. You are trying to feel abundant before you allow yourself to claim abundance. You are trying to feel confident before you take confident action. You are trying to feel deserving before you accept what is being offered to you. And let's be honest with each other right now. It is exhausting, isn't it? It is draining your soul. It is like trying to feel like a swimmer while you are standing on dry land, refusing to get in the water. You are standing there doing affirmations about swimming and visualizing yourself swimming, but you will not get in the pool because you do not feel like a swimmer yet. Here is the great awakening you need to have right now. There is no gatekeeper. There is no one grading your performance. There is no cosmic judge waiting for you to be perfect before handing you the keys. The key has been in your pocket the entire time. The only difference between the beggar in the basement and the owner in the master suite is a simple shift in mindset. The beggar asks for permission, but the owner issues commands. The beggar hopes things will get better, but the owner knows that the estate is already theirs. This is not about arrogance, and this is not about ego. This is about waking up to the truth of who you are. When you walk into your own home, in the physical world, you do not stand at the front door and knock. You do not pray to the architect of the house, asking to be let in. You do not weep on the doormat, hoping the house finds you worthy of entry. No. You walk up to the door. You insert the key. You turn the lock. You enter. You turn on the lights. You sit on your couch. You eat from your refrigerator. You do not ask permission because it is yours. You do not need to generate a feeling of excitement to enter your house. You just enter. This is the energy we are going to cultivate today. We are moving you out of the basement of begging and into the master suite of commanding. We are going to stop asking, "Is it okay if I have this?" and start saying, "This is mine." Now that we've established that you are the owner of the estate and not the beggar in the basement, we must confront the massive invisible wall that keeps pushing you back down the stairs. This wall is built of a single dangerous misconception that has been fed to you by self-help books and motivational speakers for decades. It is the belief that you must feel ready before you can act. It is the belief that you must feel confident before you can step into the room. It is the belief that you must feel abundant before the money can show up. This is the great trap of feeling, and it is the primary reason why so many brilliant, talented people never claim their birthright. You are waiting for a feeling that is never going to come while you are standing still. Here is what nobody tells you, and this is going to change everything if you let it sink into your subconscious mind. Command comes before feeling. Action comes before emotion. You do not wait to feel like doing something to do it. You do it, and the feeling follows. This is not just motivational fluff. This is actually how your brain is wired biologically. Your brain does not care about your intentions, or your vision boards, or your hopes. Your brain cares about your actions. When you stand on the shore and tell yourself you are a swimmer, but you refuse to get in the water because it looks cold, your brain registers you as a coward. But the moment you dive into the water, even if you are terrified, even if you are shivering, your brain looks at your action and says, "Oh, we are in the water now, so I guess we are swimmers." Let me adjust the body temperature and the adrenaline levels to match this new reality. The feeling of being a swimmer only comes after you are wet. The feeling of being confident only comes after you have walked onto the stage. The feeling of wealth only comes after you have started managing the money you have with the dignity of a millionaire. You have been doing it backward. You have been trying to manufacture the emotion of the result before you have taken the action of the command. You are like a person standing in front of a wood stove, freezing to death and screaming at the stove. "Give me heat, and then I will give you wood." That is not how the laws of physics work, and that is not how the laws of the universe work. You must put the wood in first. You must strike the match first. You must issue the command first, and then the warmth of the feeling will wrap around you. The universe operates on this exact same principle, but with even less sentimentality about it. We tend to personify the universe. We think of it as a benevolent parent who is watching our struggle and keeping a score of our tears. We think that if we cry hard enough, or if we suffer long enough, the universe will take pity on us and give us what we want. But the universe is not your grandmother. The universe is like the most efficient computer system ever created. It is a mirror of absolute precision. It does not care about your sob story. It does not care about your trauma. It does not care how unfair your childhood was. This sounds harsh, but it is actually the most liberating news you will ever hear. It means the universe does not hold your past against you. It only responds to your current input. If your input is, "I am broken and I need to be fixed," the universe says, "Okay, reflected. Here are more situations that make you feel broken so you can continue your narrative." If your input is, "I am waiting for permission," the universe says, "Okay, reflected. Here is more waiting." But if your input is a clear, unwavering command that says, "This is mine, and I am taking it," the universe says, "Command accepted." executing order. It does not check your file to see if you have suffered enough to earn it. It simply responds to the frequency of your command. This is why you see people who seem less spiritual or less deserving than you achieving massive success. They are not better than you, they just stopped begging and started commanding. They stopped waiting for the feeling and started moving with authority. And this brings us to the most comfortable trap of all, the trap of healing. I want to address this with great compassion, but also with surgical precision because many of you are hiding here. You have been taught that you are damaged goods. You have been convinced that before you can have the relationship or the career or the life you want, you must first heal every wound, release every limiting belief, and achieve a state of perfect inner peace. And look, I am not saying that inner work isn't valuable. I am not saying self-awareness isn't important. But what I am saying is that you have turned healing into a lifestyle instead of a process. You are using the excuse of, "I am not ready yet," as a stalling tactic to avoid the responsibility of your own power. You have been hiding in the healing. You have been treating yourself like a broken car that needs to be fully repaired before it can drive out of the garage. So you spend years tinkering with the engine, polishing the mirrors, and changing the oil, but you never actually drive the car. You tell yourself, "I will apply for that job when I heal my imposter syndrome. I will start dating when I heal my attachment style. I will launch that business when I heal my money blocks." Do you see what is happening? You are placing a condition on your own life that the universe never placed there. You are declaring yourself unworthy until some imaginary future date when you are finally perfect. Let me tell you a secret. You are never going to feel 100% ready. You are never going to be fully healed in the way you think. There will always be a new layer. There will always be a new fear. If you wait until you are perfect to claim what is yours, you will be waiting until you are in the grave. The command does not require you to be healed. The command creates the healing. When you step up and claim your power, when you stop acting like a victim and start acting like the owner, the old wounds start to close up on their own because they no longer serve a purpose in your new identity. Think about it this way. If you are training for a marathon, you do not wait until you are in perfect shape to start running. You start running to get into shape. The act of running is what transforms your body. In the same way, you do not wait until you are spiritually perfect to command your life. You command your life, and the act of commanding transforms your spirit. You must stop using your past pain as a permission slip to stay small. The universe is not asking for your medical records. It is asking for your orders. It is waiting for you to stop analyzing why you are in the basement and simply walk up the stairs. The moment you decide that you are done waiting, the moment you decide that action comes first, the entire mechanism of reality shifts in your favor. You stop being a project that needs to be fixed, and you become a force that needs to be reckoned with. Now that we have cleared away the misconceptions about feeling ready and the trap of endless healing, we must venture into the mechanics of how reality actually works. We are going to step into the control room of the universe. To understand command, you must first understand where the things you want actually come from. Most people live their entire lives believing that the physical world is the only reality. They believe that if they cannot see it, touch it, or spend it, then it does not exist. But this is the illusion that keeps you poor and struggling. The truth is that everything you see in the physical world is merely a shadow or a reflection of what already exists in the invisible realm. This is the metaphysical foundation of command. Imagine for a moment that the universe is a massive, infinite warehouse that exists in a dimension you cannot see with your physical eyes, but you can access with your mind. In this invisible warehouse, every single possibility of your life already exists as a finished product. There is a version of you that is already wealthy. There is a version of you that is already happily married. There is a version of you that is already running that successful business. You do not have to create these versions. You do not have to manufacture them. They are already there, sitting on the shelf, waiting to be claimed. This is a crucial distinction that most people miss. They think manifestation is about forcing something into existence that does not exist. That is exhausting and impossible. True command is simply selecting what already exists in the invisible and bringing it into the visible. So, if everything is already there, why do most people never receive it? The answer lies in the signal they are sending to the warehouse. This brings us to the most counterintuitive and shocking truth about the law of command. High emotion is often your enemy. Desperate longing is the blockage, not the bridge. We have been taught by movies and songs that if we want something, we must want it with every fiber of our being. We must cry for it, and pine for it, and obsess over it. But in the metaphysics of command, this energy of wanting is actually a repellent. Here is the logic. Emotion implies that the outcome is uncertain. When you are putting a massive amount of desperate emotional energy into something you are vibrating at the frequency of lack, think about the language of your energy. When you say, I hope this happens, or I really need this to work, what you are actually telling the universe is, I do not have this, and I am terrified I never will. The universe, which acts as a faithful mirror, reflects that terror back to you as more lack. Hope is a beggar. Hope stands outside the door and wonders if the master is home. Hope creates a gap between you and your desire. It says, the thing I want is over there, and I am over here, and I do not know how to cross the distance. Knowing, on the other hand, closes the gap instantly. Knowing collapses the distance between you and your desire. Let me give you the most powerful example of this state of knowing. It is an example you live with every single day, but you never stop to appreciate its power. Think about your name. You do not wake up in the morning and frantically check your driver's license to make sure your name is still your name. You do not look in the mirror and do affirmations saying, I hope I am still me, I really wish I am still me. You do not visualize yourself having your name. You do not try to vibrate at the frequency of your name. You simply know it. It is a fact. It is non-negotiable. It is boring in its certainty. There is no drama around your name. There is no emotion around your name. You just answer to it. That dull, boring, absolute certainty is the energy of command. That is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not fireworks and tears of joy. It is the quiet relief of something that is already settled. When you order a package online from a trusted retailer, you do not sit by the window and cry, wondering if it will come. You do not call the company every 5 minutes, begging them to ship it. You click the button, you receive the confirmation, and you go about your life. You know it is coming. You might even forget about it until it arrives at your door. That is the state of command. You have placed the order in the invisible realm, and you trust the delivery system of the universe enough to let it go. But most people do the opposite. They place the order, and then they immediately cancel it with their doubt. They say, I claim this job, but then 5 minutes later, they say, but what if I am not good enough? That is a cancellation. They say, I claim this money, but then they look at their bank account and say, oh no, I am broke. That is a cancellation. They are constantly ordering and canceling, and then they wonder why the package never arrives. The universe cannot deliver to a moving target. You must stand still in your knowing. You must stand in the authority of your command without wavering. This is where the concept of faith gets misunderstood. People think faith is an emotion. They think they have to work themselves up into a frenzy of belief. But faith is not an emotion. Faith is a stance. It is a posture of the spirit. It is the refusal to be moved by physical evidence that contradicts your command. When you command something, you are looking at the invisible reality and calling it more real than the visible reality. You are saying, I see the lack in my bank account, but I know the truth is abundance. I see the loneliness in my living room, but I know the truth is love. This is not delusion. This is the mechanics of creation. The visible world always lags behind the invisible. The physical world is just the printout of your past thoughts. If you want to change the printout, you have to change the data you are entering into the computer. So how do you move from hoping to knowing? How do you stop begging and start commanding? You do it by removing the pedestal you have placed your desires on. When you want something too much, you make it bigger than you. You make it a god and you become its worshiper. You think that thing will save you, or fix you, or complete you. That energy of idolatry pushes the thing away because you are signaling that you are small and it is huge. Command requires you to equalize the energy. You must realize that nothing you want is too big for you because it is already yours in the invisible. It is just sitting on the shelf. You are not asking for a miracle, you are asking for a delivery. When you command from this place of neutrality, you become magnetic. Desperation repels, but confidence attracts. Think about dating or social interactions. We all know that person who tries too hard, who is desperate for approval, who laughs too loud at every joke. That energy is repelling. We want to get away from them. And then we know that person who is completely comfortable in their own skin, who does not need anything from anyone who is just present. That energy is magnetic. We want to be around them. The universe works the exact same way. When you chase things, run. When you stand your ground and command things come, you must become the person who already has it. This does not mean spending money you do not have. It means spending your mental energy differently. The person who is wealthy does not worry about money. The person who is loved does not worry about being alone. The person who is healthy does not obsess over symptoms. To command your reality, you must mentally occupy the state of the person who has already received the package. You must think from the end. If you are constantly checking for signs that it is working, you are proving that you do not believe it is done. If you have to dig up the seed to see if it is growing, you kill the plant. The master of command plants the seed, walks away, and prepares the harvest. This brings us to the power of your word. In the invisible realm, your word is the law. It is the code that programs the reality. When you speak a command, you are cutting through the noise of chaos and giving direction to the energy. You are not asking the energy to please help you. You are directing the energy to form a specific shape. But your word only has power if it is backed by the authority of your knowing. If you say, I am abundant, but your heart is trembling with fear, your word is empty. You must align your word with your knowing. You must speak not to convince yourself, but to announce the truth. Stop trying to vibrate high. Stop trying to force yourself to feel happy when you are sad. Those are just more forms of begging. Instead, focus on the quiet, calm certainty of facts. The sun will rise tomorrow. That is a fact. Gravity will hold you down. That is a fact. Your desire is already yours in the invisible. That is a fact. When you can look at your desire with the same lack of emotion that you look at a chair or a table, you have mastered the metaphysics of command. You have taken the drama out of the equation and left only the result. You have stopped being a child crying for a toy and become the adult who simply walks over and picks it up. This is the shift. This is the secret. It is not about adding more emotion. It is about subtracting the resistance until all that is left is the pure, clear signal of command. Before we move on to the unconditional worthiness that is your birthright, I want to take a brief moment to invite you into this circle of power. We are building a community here, not of beggars, but of commanders. A community of people who are ready to stop shrinking and start expanding. If you are receiving value from this lecture, and if you are ready to claim your place at the head of the table, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel right now. By clicking that subscribe button, you are making a small but powerful declaration that you are open to receiving more wisdom, more power, and more truth. Join us. Let us walk this path of mastery together. Now, let us return to the lesson and discuss why you were born worthy. Now we arrive at the silent killer of all dreams. We have talked about the mechanics of command, and we have talked about the illusion of the invisible realm. But none of that matters if you are harboring a secret infection in your soul. This infection is the belief that you are not worthy of the good you are asking for. You can say the words of the command. You can visualize the outcome. You can act as if, but if deep down in the basement of your subconscious mind, you believe that you are fundamentally flawed or that you have not done enough to deserve the reward, then you will subconsciously sabotage every single opportunity that comes your way. You will build the castle with your words and then tear it down with your feelings of unworthiness. So today, we are going to perform surgery on this belief. We are going to cut it out once and for all because you cannot command a kingdom if you still think like a servant. I need you to understand where this feeling of unworthiness comes from because it was not yours to begin with. You were not born feeling unworthy. Look at a baby or a young child. They do not apologize for their needs. They do not cry softly so as not to disturb the universe. They demand to be fed. They demand to be held. They demand to be loved. They assume their worthiness is a fact. They know that simply because they exist, they deserve to be cared for. But as you grew up, you were indoctrinated into a transactional system. You were taught that love and reward are things you must earn. If you get good grades, you get praise. If you clean your room, you get an allowance. If you are quiet and obedient, you are a good child. Slowly and insidiously, you began to internalize a false equation. You began to believe that your worth is tied to your performance. You began to believe that you are only as good as what you do or what you produce. You started keeping a mental scorecard of your life. On one side, you list your achievements and your good deeds, and on the other side, you list your mistakes and your failures. And before you ask the universe for anything, you check the scorecard to see if you have enough points to afford it. You think, I cannot ask for that promotion because I made a mistake last year. I cannot ask for that relationship because I am not thin enough or rich enough yet. I cannot ask for abundance because I have not been spiritual enough. This transactional mindset is the death of command. The universe does not operate on a scorecard. The universe operates on birthright. You must understand the difference between an employee and an heir. An employee must earn their wage. They must show up, they must work hard, they must prove their value every single day, and if they stop performing, the wages stop coming. But an heir does not earn their inheritance. The heir receives the inheritance simply because of who they are. They are born into the family. The bloodline dictates the wealth, not the effort. In the grand spiritual scheme of things, you are not an employee of the universe. You are a child of the creative intelligence. You are an heir to the kingdom. When you think you need to become worthy, you are thinking like an employee. You are trying to work your way into heaven, but you cannot become what you already are. Thinking you need to become worthy is like thinking you need to become human. You already are human. It is your nature. Worthiness is your nature. It is not something you achieve at the finish line. It is the ground you stand on at the starting line. Your worthiness is not up for debate. It is not a variable that fluctuates with the stock market or your dress size. You exist. Therefore, you are worthy. That is the whole equation. The very fact that you are breathing means that the life force has deemed you worthy of existence. Who are you to argue with the intelligence that spins the galaxies? If the universe decided you are worthy enough to exist, why do you decide you are not worthy enough to thrive? Now I know what the voice of resistance is saying in your head right now. It is saying, but you do not know what I have done. You do not know my past. You do not know my sins. And here is where we must address the concept of the past. In the eyes of the law of command, the past does not exist. The past is a memory trace in your brain. It has no power in the present moment unless you give it power. The universe is eternally present. The creative energy is always flowing in the now. When you hold on to your past mistakes and use them as evidence of your unworthiness, you are dragging a corpse into the living room. You are arguing for your limitations. You are telling the universe, I cannot have this bright future because I had a dark past. But the universe does not care about your past. It cares about your vibration right now. You can be a completely new person in this very second if you choose to drop the heavy baggage of your history. Forgiveness is not just a moral virtue, it is a metaphysical necessity. You must forgive yourself, not because it is nice, but because guilt is a heavy anchor that prevents your ship from sailing. You cannot command the winds of success if you are anchored to the rocks of regret. Cut the chain. Declare yourself innocent. Not because you never made a mistake, but because you have learned and you have moved on and you are no longer that person. Let us move to the second great block that keeps people from claiming their birthright. This is a big one, especially for spiritual and religious people. It is the misunderstanding of humility. We have been taught that to be good is to be small. We have been taught that poverty is pious and that suffering is noble. We have been conditioned to believe that asking for what we want is arrogant. So we play small. We shrink. We ask for just enough to survive because we do not want to appear greedy or selfish. We think we are being humble, but we are actually being ungrateful. Let me redefine humility for you. True humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. True humility is accepting the greatness that was placed inside of you. Imagine a great artist paints a masterpiece and gives it to you as a gift. If you take that masterpiece and throw it in the closet and say, "Oh, I am too humble to display this. I am not worthy of such beauty," you are not being humble. You are insulting the artist. You are rejecting the gift. The universe has given you gifts. It has given you desires. It has given you talents. It has given you the capacity for joy and abundance. When you reject these gifts in the name of false humility, you are insulting the giver. Real humility is recognizing that you are a channel. You are a vessel for the infinite abundance to flow through. When you block the flow because you think you are not worthy, you are clogging the pipe. You are preventing the universe from expressing its glory through you. A wealthy person can build hospitals and schools. A healthy person can care for the sick. A happy person can uplift the depressed. But a poor, sick, miserable person can only be a burden. By commanding your good, you are actually empowering yourself to be of service to the world. You cannot pour from an empty cup. To give you must first receive. To help you must first be strong. So stop wearing your suffering like a badge of honor. Your suffering does not serve the world. Your thriving serves the world. And this brings us to the fear of greed. This is the shadow that haunts many of us. We think that if we take too much, we are taking it away from someone else. We view the world as a pie with a limited number of slices. If I take a big slice, that means someone else goes hungry. This is the scarcity mindset, and it is a lie. The universe is not a pie. The universe is an infinite kitchen that never stops baking. There is no shortage of supply. There is only a shortage of demand. When you breathe in a deep breath of air, do you worry that you are stealing oxygen from your neighbor? Of course not. You know that there is enough air for everyone. Abundance works the same way. When you succeed, you do not rob others. In fact, you do the opposite. You give others permission to succeed. You show them what is possible. When you command your life and step into your power, you become a lighthouse. You shine a light that helps others find their way out of the darkness. By playing small, you do not help the world, you just add more darkness to it. You must eradicate the fear that wanting more is wrong. Desire is the engine of creation. The word desire comes from the Latin phrase desire, which means of the Father or of the source. Your desires are not temptations to be suppressed. They are divine instructions to be followed. They are the map leading you to your destiny. If you have a burning desire to write a book, that desire was placed in you for a reason. If you have a desire to build a business, that desire is a seed waiting to sprout. If you have a desire for a loving partner, that desire is a prophecy of what is possible. Do not apologize for your desires. Do not water them down to make other people comfortable. Do not say, I just want a little bit when your soul wants a lot. The universe responds to clarity, not ambiguity. If you ask for a crumb, you will get a crumb. If you ask for a feast, you will get a feast. And neither request is more spiritual than the other. The only difference is your level of permission. So how do we practically overcome this feeling of unworthiness? We do it by changing our identification. You have been identifying yourself by your history, by your job title, by your bank account, by your relationships. These are all external things. They are the clothes you wear, they are not who you are. You must start identifying yourself by your divine nature. You must start your sentences with, I am. The words I am are the most powerful words in the human language because whatever follows them is a command to the subconscious mind. When you say, I am unworthy, you are commanding unworthiness. When you say, I am clumsy, you are commanding clumsiness. You must hijack this mechanism. Even if you do not feel it yet, you must start declaring, I am worthy. I am powerful. I am the owner of my life. I am a child of the infinite. You do not say this to convince others, you say it to rewire your own brain. You have to brainwash yourself before the world brainwashes you. You have to build a new self-image that is so strong that the old feelings of guilt and shame simply slide off of it. Think of the royalty in ancient times. A queen does not wake up and wonder if she deserves to wear the crown. She wears it because it is her duty. It is her role. You have a duty to live your best life. You have a duty to maximize your potential. You have a duty to be happy. Because when you are the best version of yourself, you contribute the maximum value to the grand tapestry of existence. By denying your worth, you are stealing from the world the contribution that only you can make. So, I want you to stop asking for permission to exist. I want you to stop apologizing for taking up space. I want you to walk into every room like you belong there because you do. I want you to look at every opportunity and say, this is for me. Not because you earned it with blood, sweat, and tears, but because you are you. Because you are here. Because the life force that beats your heart is the same life force that burns in the stars. You are made of star stuff. You are cosmic royalty. It is time you started acting like it. Drop the guilt. Drop the shame. Drop the scorecard. Burn the list of your past failures. It is gone. It is ash. Today is a new day. Today you stand at the threshold of your own house. The door is unlocked. The feast is ready. The only thing missing is you. Will you keep standing outside in the cold, clutching your unworthiness like a security blanket, or will you finally drop it and walk in? The choice has always been yours. The worthiness has always been yours. Claim it now, not with arrogance, but with the quiet, dignified certainty of someone who finally knows who they are. We have now arrived at the most critical juncture of our journey together. We have dismantled the mindset of the beggar, and we have installed the mindset of the owner. We have established your unconditional worthiness, and we have understood the metaphysics of how the invisible becomes visible. Now we must leave the realm of theory and enter the realm of practice. Philosophy is useless without application. You can understand electricity perfectly, but if you do not know how to plug in the lamp, you will still sit in the dark. So today, I am going to give you the user manual for your own reality. I am going to hand you the exact 3-step protocol to command what is yours. This is not a suggestion, and this is not a loose collection of ideas. This is a precise formula. If you deviate from the formula, you dilute the power. If you follow it with precision, you unlock the vault. The protocol consists of 3 phases. Identify. State. Let go. Most people fail because they try to skip a step or they mix them up. They try to let go before they have identified, or they identify but never state. Or most commonly, they identify and state but refuse to let go. You must master all 3. So let us walk through them together with the seriousness of a master architect drawing the blueprints for a cathedral. Step 1 is identify. This sounds simple, but I promise you, it is where 90% of people fail before they even begin. Most people do not know what they want. They think they do, but they don't. If I asked you right now what you want, you would probably answer with vague generalities. You would say, I want to be happy, or I want more money, or I want to be successful. These are not commands. These are complaints disguised as wishes. The universe cannot fulfill a vague request. If you go to a restaurant and the waiter asks for your order, and you say, bring me something good, the waiter will be confused. He might bring you a salad when you wanted a steak. He might bring you soup when you wanted dessert. And then you will be angry at the waiter for bringing you what you asked for, which was just something. To command reality, you must be specific. You must be surgically precise. You cannot just say, I want money. You must identify the amount or the lifestyle that the money provides. You cannot just say, I want love. You must identify the type of partnership, the values, the dynamic, the feeling of the relationship. This requires you to sit down with yourself and get honest. You have to cut through the noise of what your parents wanted for you, what society thinks is success, and what your friends are doing. You have to go into the quiet room of your own soul and ask, what is it that I truly desire? What is the vision that keeps coming back to me? This step requires you to make a choice. And making a choice is terrifying for many people because choosing one thing means saying no to other things. You are afraid that if you choose the wrong path, you will be stuck. So you stay in the middle, asking for nothing specific and therefore getting nothing specific. You must overcome this fear. You must look at the menu of life and point your finger at exactly what you want. Do not worry about the how, just focus on the what. Is it a specific job title? Is it a specific number in the bank? Is it a specific state of health? Define it. Write it down. Make it so clear that if you explained it to a stranger, they would see the exact same picture in their head that you see in yours. Clarity is the first law of command. A fuzzy picture produces a fuzzy reality. A sharp picture produces a sharp reality. Once you have absolute clarity, we move to step 2, which is state as fact. This is the act of the decree. This is where you sign the contract with the universe. Most people mess this up because they state their desires in the future tense or in the language of lack. They say, I want to be wealthy. The problem with the phrase I want is that it affirms that you are currently in a state of not having. If you say, I want it, the universe gives you the experience of wanting it. You will spend the rest of your life wanting it, but never having it. You must shift your language from the future tense to the present tense. You must shift from I want to I am. This is the biblical principle of calling things that are not as though they were. You must state your command as a finished fact. You do not say, I hope to get this job. You say, I am happily employed in this divine position. You do not say, I want to get out of debt. You say, I am financially free and abundance flows to me. The language must be absolute. It must be neutral. It must be firm. Think of a judge in a courtroom. When the judge delivers a verdict, he does not scream. He does not cry. He does not beg the jury to agree with him. He simply bangs the gavel and says, it is so. The power is not in the volume of his voice, it is in the authority of his position. You are the judge of your life. Your word is the gavel. When you state your command, you are not asking the universe if it is okay. You are informing the universe of the new reality. You are overriding the old programming. It is helpful to write this statement down. There is something magical that happens when you take a thought from the ether and physically write it onto paper. You are bringing it into the physical world. You are anchoring it. Write your command in the present tense. Read it. Speak it out loud. Let your ears hear your own voice claiming your authority. Do not do this with high emotion. Do not try to hype yourself up. Do it with the calm certainty of someone stating their own name. The sun is hot. The grass is green. I am abundant. These are all just facts. Treat them as such. Now we come to step 3, which is the hardest step of all. Let go. This is the bridge that connects the invisible to the visible, and it is the bridge where most people jump off. To let go means to completely release the attachment to the how and the when. It means you fire yourself from the job of general manager of the universe. You have done your part. You have identified and you have commanded. Now the logistics of delivery belong to a higher intelligence. The problem is that we are control freaks. We are terrified that if we do not micromanage every detail, nothing will happen. We think we have to force the doors open. We think we have to manipulate the people. We think we have to figure out exactly how the money will come. And when we cannot figure it out, we panic. We start doubting our command. We start digging up the seed to see if it is growing. This anxiety is what kills the manifestation. Worry is a form of negative prayer. When you worry, you are visualizing what you do not want with intense emotion. You are commanding the disaster instead of the blessing. Letting go requires a massive amount of trust. It requires you to operate like you do with a GPS system. When you put a destination into your GPS, you do not worry about the satellites. You do not worry about the traffic algorithms. You just drive the car and follow the instructions, turn by turn. If you miss a turn, the GPS recalculates. You do not pull over and scream at the sky. You trust the system to get you there. The universe is the ultimate GPS. It can see traffic jams and roadblocks that you cannot see. It knows shortcuts that you do not know exist. When you try to force your own way, you are ignoring the satellite data and driving blind. You must take your hands off the steering wheel of the universe and just drive your own car, which is your daily actions. To let go does not mean you sit on the couch and do nothing. This is a common misunderstanding. You still take action, but you take inspired action, not desperate action. You move when you feel the nudge. You prepare for the arrival. If you commanded a new car, you clean out your garage. If you commanded a relationship, you make space in your closet. You act as if it is already done, but you do not stress. You do not lose sleep. You do not check the mail every 5 minutes. You have placed the order, and you know it is coming. This detachment is the key. You must reach a place where you want it, but you do not need it to be okay. You are already whole. You are already complete. The manifestation is just the cherry on top, not the cake itself. So here is the summary of the protocol. Step 1. You identify exactly what you want with zero ambiguity. You choose it from the menu of life. Step 2. You state it as a present fact using the power of I am. You sign the contract with your word. Step 3. You let go of the how and the when. You trust the delivery system. You stop checking for evidence and you start preparing for arrival. This protocol is unbreakable. It works for money. It works for health. It works for love. It works for peace of mind. The law is neutral. It does not care who you are. It only cares if you follow the steps. If you identify, clearly state boldly, and let go completely, the result is inevitable. But you have to do all three. You cannot hold on to the control and expect the flow. You cannot be vague and expect precision. You cannot beg and expect authority. I want you to take a moment right now and think about one area of your life where you have been stuck. Ask yourself, which step have I been missing? Have I been too vague? Have I been hoping instead of stating? Or have I been gripping it too tight, refusing to let the universe do its job? Identify the weak link in your chain and fix it today. Rewrite your command. Recommit to the trust. And watch how quickly the heavy doors start to swing open effortlessly. You are the operator of this machinery. The machine is perfect. The only variable is you. So stop blaming the machine, stop blaming the circumstances, and start operating the protocol with the precision of a master. Step 1. Identify. Step 2. State. Step 3. Let go. We have now reached the valley where most travelers lose their way. You have identified your desire. You have stated your command with authority. You have signed the contract with the universe. And then you wake up the next morning and nothing has changed. Your bank account looks exactly the same. Your house is still the same. Your relationship status is still the same. In fact, sometimes it seems like things have gotten worse. The car breaks down. An unexpected bill arrives. A friend criticizes you. This is the moment of truth. This is the testing ground. If you can navigate this phase, you become a master. If you panic here, you return to the basement of the beggar. We are going to talk about the inevitable time lag and the supreme art of detachment, because understanding these two concepts is the only way to survive the gestation period of your dream. First, you must understand the nature of the reality you inhabit. You are living in a physical dimension that is dense and heavy. In the realm of the mind and the spirit, thoughts are instant. You can imagine yourself in Paris, and in your mind, you are instantly in Paris. But in the physical world, there is a density that requires time to move. Think of a massive steamship moving through the ocean. If the captain turns the wheel to change direction, the ship does not turn instantly at a 90-degree angle. The momentum of the past keeps it moving forward for a while before it slowly begins to arc into the new direction. Your life is that steamship. You have been steering it with your old thoughts and old beliefs for years. Now you have issued a new command. You have turned the wheel. But the momentum of your old reality is still pushing the ship forward for a little while. This is not failure. This is physics. We call this the time lag. It is the buffer zone between your command and the physical manifestation. And I want you to reframe how you see this delay. Most people hate the delay. They scream at the universe, "Why is it not here yet?" But the delay is actually a mercy. It is a safety mechanism. Imagine if every single fleeting thought you had manifested instantly. Imagine if every moment of fear, every flash of anger, and every worry instantly became a physical reality. You would destroy your life in 5 minutes. The time lag gives you a cushion. It gives you the grace period to stabilize your command and prove that you really mean it. It filters out the fleeting whims from the true desires. Only the commands that are sustained through the time lag are strong enough to be born. So what do you do during this lag? You wait with active expectation. But here is the trap. During this lag, you will often see the opposite of what you asked for. This is where people get scared. You command abundance, and suddenly you lose a client. You command health, and suddenly you get the flu. You command love, and suddenly you have a fight with your partner. The amateur looks at this and says, "It did not work. I must have done it wrong." The master looks at this and says, "Ah, the renovation has begun." Think about renovating a house. If you want to install a beautiful new modern kitchen, what is the first thing you have to do? You have to demolish the old one. You have to tear out the old cabinets, rip up the old floor, and create a mess. If someone walked in during the demolition phase without knowing the plan, they would think you were destroying the house. They would see dust and debris and chaos. But you know that the chaos is necessary proof that the new kitchen is coming. You cannot build the new on top of the old. The structure of your old life has to crumble to make space for the structure of your new life. So when obstacles arise after you have issued a command, do not panic. Do not react with emotion. Recognize them as the demolition crew. When you lose that job, maybe it is because that job was too small for the abundance you just commanded, and the universe is clearing the way for the career that actually matches your new frequency. When that person leaves your life, maybe it is because they were anchoring you to the version of you that belongs in the basement. Do not mourn the loss of the old reality. Bless the debris and keep your eyes on the blueprint. This requires nerves of steel. This requires you to walk by faith and not by sight. The visible world will lie to you. It will show you lack. But your command is the truth. This brings us to the hardest paradox in all of spiritual philosophy. To receive what you want, you must care about it deeply, but you must not need it to be happy. This is the art of detachment. It sounds contradictory. How can I command something if I do not care? I am not saying you do not care about the result. I am saying you are not attached to the result for your emotional survival. There is a frequency difference between preference and desperation. Preference says, I choose this experience because it is beautiful and it delights me. Desperation says, I must have this experience or else I am worthless and miserable. The universe repels desperation. Desperation is a sticky, heavy energy that says, I am empty, please fill me. When you chase a butterfly, it flies away. When you sit still and tend to your garden, the butterfly comes to you. Detachment is the art of tending to your garden. It is the ability to be happy right now before the manifestation arrives. If you are saying, I will be happy when I get the money, or I will be happy when I get the marriage, you are postponing your joy. And because the universe reflects your current state, it will postpone your manifestation. You cannot wait for the external world to change to fix your internal world. You must fix your internal world, and then the external world will naturally reshape itself to match. This is the secret of the watched pot. You know the old saying, a watched pot never boils. When you are staring at the water willing it to boil, you are introducing anxiety and resistance into the process. You are checking for evidence, which means you doubt the outcome. You must take your eyes off the pot. You must go set the table. You must chop the vegetables. You must trust that the laws of thermodynamics are working. The heat is on. The water will boil. Your anxiety does not make it boil faster. It only makes the wait feel like torture. So how do you practice detachment in a practical way? You do it by engaging fully with your present moment. You treat your current reality with respect, even while you are commanding a new one. If you hate your current job while you are manifesting a new one, you are generating a frequency of hate. That frequency cannot birth a job you love. You must find peace in the present. You must do your best where you are. You must be grateful for the small things. This raises your vibration and makes you a match for the new reality. You command the palace, but you sweep the floor of the cottage with dignity. That is how you prove to the universe that you are ready for more. There is a specific technique I want you to use when the time lag gets difficult or when an obstacle hits you in the face. It is called the "isn't that interesting" technique. When something bad happens, instead of getting angry or fearful or sad, I want you to step back and observe it like a scientist observing an experiment. Say to yourself, "Isn't that interesting? I commanded abundance, and now I have a flat tire. I wonder how the universe is going to weave this into my success." This simple phrase neutralizes the negative emotion. It takes you out of the role of the victim and puts you in the role of the observer. It keeps your vibration high. It shows the universe that you are not easily shaken. You must understand that the universe loves a test. It does not test you to punish you. It tests you to confirm your authority. It wants to know, are you serious about this command, or was it just a wish? Anyone can be positive when things are going well. Anyone can have faith when the money is in the bank. But can you hold your command when the account is empty? Can you hold your head high when the world says you are failing? That is where the power is generated. That is where the transformation happens. When you can stand in the face of contradictory evidence and still say, "I know who I am and I know what is mine," you become unstoppable. The physical world has no choice but to yield to that level of conviction. Detachment also means releasing the how. You are responsible for the what. The universe is responsible for the how. Humans are terrible at the how. We have limited vision. We can only see the path that is right in front of us. The universe has an eagle-eye view. It sees paths that you do not know exist. When you try to control the how, you limit the universe to your own small intelligence. Maybe you think the money should come from a lottery win, but the universe wants to bring it through a business idea or an inheritance or a gift. If you are attached to the lottery, you might miss the business idea. Detachment opens the doors to infinite channels. It says, I am open to receiving my good in whatever way is best and highest. Let me tell you something that will relieve a lot of your pressure. You do not need to sustain the high intensity of the command 24 hours a day. You plant the seed once. You water it occasionally. You do not need to stand over it screaming, grow all day long. Once you have shifted into the state of knowing, you can relax. You can play. You can enjoy your life. In fact, the more you enjoy your life, the faster the manifestation comes. Joy is the lubricant of the universe. Struggle is the friction. When you are laughing, when you are playing, when you are lost in a hobby, you are in a state of non-resistance. You are out of your own way. That is usually when the phone rings with the good news. That is usually when the solution appears. Because you took your hands off the throat of the universe and let it breathe. So your homework for the time lag is this. Get busy living. Do not put your life on hold waiting for the big break. Wear your nice clothes now. Use your good dishes now. Be generous now. Be happy now. Act as if the guest you are expecting is already in the driveway. Because in the invisible realm they are. The bridge has been built. The ship is turning. The renovation is underway. Do not let the dust and noise of the construction site fool you into thinking the project has failed. It is proceeding exactly as planned. Stand firm. Keep your hands off the wheel. And watch how the universe orchestrates the perfect arrival of your command. We have traveled a long distance together in this session. We have dismantled the identity of the beggar and awakened the identity of the commander. We have explored the physics of the invisible realm and the discipline of detachment. But now we arrive at the most important, the moment where you leave this video and step back into your actual life. Knowledge that is not applied is just entertainment. It is intellectual candy that tastes good for a moment but provides no nutrition. I do not want this to be just another video you watched. I want this to be the turning point of your destiny. To make that happen, you need a concrete battle plan. You need to know exactly what this looks like on a Tuesday morning when you are tired and the world is demanding your attention. So, let us look at some real-world scenarios and then I will give you your marching orders. Let us start with the area where so many people lose their power, which is the workplace and the career. Let us look at the difference between the beggar and the commander in a job search. The beggar approaches the job market with fear. They scroll through listings with a knot in their stomach, thinking, oh, I hope I am qualified for this, or please let someone hire me so I can pay my bills. They send out resumes with the energy of a spam bot, hoping that maybe one person will take pity on them. When they get an interview, they walk in shrinking. They sit in the chair like a child in the principal's office. They answer questions trying to say whatever they think the boss wants to hear. They are desperate to be chosen. And because they are vibrating at the frequency of desperation, they often repel the opportunity or they attract a boss who will exploit them because predators can smell fear. Now, let us look at the commander. The commander identifies exactly what kind of work they want to do. They state clearly, I provide massive value and I am compensated generously for my talents. When they look for a job, they are not asking for a favor. They are looking for a partnership. They read a job description and assess if the company is worthy of their skills. When they send a resume, they send it with the energy of a gift, not a plea. When they walk into an interview, they walk in with their head high. They treat the interview as a two-way street. They are interviewing the company just as much as the company is interviewing them. They are not arrogant, but they are grounded in their worth. They are not trying to convince anyone. They are simply presenting the opportunity for the company to work with them. And if they do not get the job, they do not crash. They simply say, that was not my door, and they move on. This energy is magnetic. It commands respect. It commands a higher salary. It commands a better environment. Now, let us look at relationships and love. This is where the beggar mentality causes the most pain. The beggar needs a partner to feel complete. They walk around with a hole in their soul, looking for someone else to fill it. They date from a place of deficit. When they meet someone they like, they immediately hand over all their power. They obsess over text messages. They analyze every word. They change their personality to fit what they think the other person wants. They tolerate bad behavior because they are terrified of being alone. They are constantly asking, "Do you like me? Am I enough?" And this heavy, needy energy suffocates the romance. It turns the other person off because nobody wants to be responsible for your entire emotional survival. The commander approaches love from a place of overflow. The commander is already happy. The commander is already complete. They have built a life they love, and they are simply looking for someone to share it with, not someone to fix it. When they date, they are evaluating. They are asking, does this person align with my values? Does this person respect my time? They do not chase. They do not beg for attention. They do not tolerate games. If someone pulls away, the commander lets them go without drama because they know their value is not tied to that person's opinion. They state, "My perfect partner is drawn to me, and I am ready." This confidence is the most attractive quality in the world. It signals high value. It signals that you are a prize to be won, not a burden to be carried. So how do you build this commander mindset? It does not happen overnight. It happens through daily rigorous practice. I am going to give you 3 homework assignments. These are non-negotiable. If you want the results, you must do the work. Assignment number 1 is the morning decree. Most people start their day in a state of reaction. You wake up, and the first thing you do is grab your phone. You check the news and see chaos. You check your email and see demands. You check social media and see other people living better lives than you. Before you have even gotten out of bed, you have given your power away to the world. You have started the day as a beggar reacting to whatever is thrown at you. From today onwards, that stops. The first 5 minutes of your day are sacred territory. You do not touch your phone. You do not talk to anyone. You go to the mirror, you look yourself in the eye, and you issue your commands for the day. You brief yourself like a general briefing the troops. You state your I ams. I am powerful. I am abundant. I am guided. I am the master of my world. You state your specific commands for your current goals. You set the tone. You decide how the day is going to go before the day starts. You are putting on your spiritual armor. When you walk out of your bedroom after doing this, you are not a leaf blowing in the wind. You are a force of nature. You have established your authority, and the world will respond to that energy. Assignment number 2 is the pattern interrupt. This is a mindfulness practice that you must do all day long. You have been addicted to the language of the beggar for years, and those old habits will try to sneak back in. You will catch yourself saying things like, "I hope this works out," or "I am so worried about money," or "I never get what I want." These are unauthorized commands. You are commanding failure. Your job is to catch these thoughts in real time. You must be the security guard of your own mind. When you hear yourself say, "I hope," stop immediately. Interrupt the pattern. Say out loud, "Cancel," and then immediately replace it with the corrected command. Change. I hope it works too. It is working out for my highest good. Change. I am worried about money too. I am sourced by infinite abundance. Change. I am lonely too. I am complete, and love is finding me. You have to be aggressive with this. Do not let a single negative beggar thought slide by without challenging it. At first, you might have to do this 100 times a day. That is okay. It means you are waking up. Eventually, your default setting will shift from fear to faith. Assignment number 3 is the embodiment or acting as if. This is where you bring the command into your physical body. You cannot command a king's life while acting like a peasant. You must start finding small ways to embody the version of you that already has the desire. This is not about spending money you do not have. This is about dignity. This is about standards. If you are commanding abundance, stop saving the good china for a special occasion. Use it for dinner tonight. Stop wearing your old torn clothes around the house. Wear things that make you feel respectable. If you are commanding a relationship, make space in your closet. Sleep on one side of the bed. If you are commanding health, stand up straight and walk with vitality, even if you feel tired. You must signal to your subconscious mind that the shift has already occurred. When you treat yourself as valuable, the universe treats you as valuable. When you treat yourself as cheap, the universe treats you as cheap. Find one small thing you can do today to upgrade your experience of life. Maybe it is buying a slightly better brand of coffee. Maybe it is taking 10 minutes to meditate. Maybe it is saying no to an obligation you hate. Act like the owner of your life, and the estate will follow. Now, we are at the end of our session, but this is really the beginning of your new life. You have a choice to make right now. You can close this video and go back to the basement. You can go back to complaining and hoping and waiting for someone to save you. You can go back to the comfortable misery of the victim. Or you can decide right now in this moment that those days are over. You can decide that you are done begging. You can decide that you are ready to take your place at the head of the table. The universe is holding its breath, waiting for your decision. It has an infinite supply of blessings with your name on them, just sitting in the warehouse. But it cannot deliver them until you sign for them. And you sign for them with your command. You are more powerful than you know. You are more supported than you can imagine. The only thing standing between you and your dream is your permission. Give yourself permission today. Open the door. Walk upstairs. The feast is ready. If this message has sparked a fire in your soul, I want you to do something concrete right now to seal this pact. I want you to scroll down to the comments section and declare your command to the world. Do not write, I hope. Write, I command. Write, I claim. Write, I am. State it publicly. Let this comment section be a scroll of decrees. Let it be a testament to the army of masters that is rising up. I want to see your power. I want to read your truth. And finally, if you are ready to commit to this path, if you are ready to leave the old way behind forever, then subscribe to this channel. This is not just a channel. This is a training ground for the new humanity. We are going to keep going deeper. We are going to keep unlocking the secrets. We are going to keep reminding each other of who we really are. Join us. Hit that notification bell so you do not miss a single lesson. You are the owner. You are the commander. The deed is in your pocket. The key is in your hand. Stop begging. Start commanding. And go claim the divine right that has been yours since the moment you were born. It is done.